I'm calling today Adventures in Finnish Real Estate. I arrived in December 2020, and in just over 3 short years, I've had a lot of real estate adventures. The first thing was about 2 to 3 weeks after arriving, we started looking for a place to live. We found some land, gorgeous land in Pargas, in the Turku archipelago, and actually put an offer in. The plan was we were going to move in and build a house in this gorgeous piece of land with a lovely beach by the sea. However, after a few weeks and talking to some architects and looking at the numbers, we realized we didn't have enough money to build this dream home. So we canceled the deal, and the agent was pretty laid back about it, no issues, it was no problem. And, we kept thinking about it, and then we kind of had second thoughts on canceling, so we called the agent back, but by then it was too late. The property had already sold because it really was a gorgeous piece of property. Even with that happening, actually I don't regret it, because I think it would have been a big financial stretch if we had gone and bought that property and then tried to build a house. So that's our first experience with real estate. Next, we were looking at a horse farm, and it was in Halikko. And since we were coming to look at this horse farm, we then also thought, well, let's see if there are any apartments for sale that look suitable in the area. And as it happened, there was an apartment in Salo for sale. So we decided to kill 2 birds, look at the Salo apartment and the horse farm at the same time. The horse farm was a disaster, but the apartment actually was not bad. For me, it was okay, but I wasn't planning to put in an offer. But my partner was already measuring curtains on that first visit. So we put in an offer, it was accepted, and we bought our property where this is actually being filmed right now. After a couple months in this property, we thought it's a little bit small, we didn't really have room for guests, so we ended up buying the apartment next door, which was a kaksio, which is a 1-bedroom. We are in a 3-bedroom. So the idea was we would stay here, have the next door, and we would knock out the wall and just make it one big apartment. At the moment, we rented the apartment right after we bought it because we weren't ready to do all those work, all that renovation work. And so we thought we might as well rent it while we figure out, what we're going to do long term and get the budget together and all of that. Since doing that, we've had some reservations as to whether or not Salo is the right place for us, permanently. So now we've decided that actually we're not going to combine the apartments. We'll keep them as 2 separate apartments so that at some point, if we want to sell, we have 2 different places we can sell as opposed to trying to find a buyer who wants one big apartment. So that's what we're doing with this piece of property at the moment, or say these 2 pieces of property. And the good thing is the rent is decent, it covers all the costs, we make a small profit on it, so, it's taking care of itself, and so, we're happy actually with that purchase and that process. The next thing we did was we thought we wanted to have a summer home, so we bought a rundown house in the countryside, and I've already done another video on that. That's turned out to be what I would consider a bit of a money pit, except we haven't spent any money on it yet, but it's going to be a huge job, much bigger than we thought it was going to be, so there's a question mark on whether that was a wise purchase or not. So with our third purchase, the money pit, I'll refer to it as, or the disaster, which is what I titled the video, we then bought another property that was out in the country. It's a small studio in a quiet town. It's big enough town, Pernio, where if we need anything, pretty much we can get it while we're there. And we're in the center of the town, so that's quite nice and convenient. I think probably soon we're going to rent that out. We're kind of using it as like our summer cottage at the moment, but we're probably going to rent that out or put it up for rent in the next month or two to kind of get our budget in a little bit better shape. So, what do I think about real estate after purchasing 4 properties in under 3 years, in actually almost under 2 years? Well, first conclusion is number one, we're not buying any more property. If we buy any more property, we have to get rid of property first. So, I'm not investing cumulatively anymore in Finnish real estate. There is a website called Etuovi, and I actually log into that site and check it maybe 5 times a week. And that's actually how we ended up buying the last 2 properties, the Disaster and the Studio, because I'm always checking, and if I see something that looks like, that could be an interesting deal, then I'll send it to my partner, and if he's interested, then we will book a viewing and go and see it. So we viewed several properties, but those were the only 2 that after seeing it we thought, yeah, that could have some potential for us. But yeah, I'm still looking, but the main reason I look is I like to see when properties come on the market, what prices they are, and when they, and I also check from time to time, especially if it's very close to where we live. I check back, every couple months to see, is it still on the market? And that can be a little bit deceiving because, for example, in our condominium, there is a particular property that has been on the market several times. I assume it's never sold. It's as if the owners put it on the market and maybe they wait 3 months, and if they don't get an offer, they take it off the market, because then I see it come back on the market, like maybe 6 months later. So that actually has me a bit worried about the real estate market here in these smaller cities, because I do sometimes see what to me look like good properties that don't sell, and they sit on the market for about 3 months, and then they just go away, and 6 months later it comes on again, and again it sits for 3 months, and then they take it off the market, and it just kind of recycles. So that definitely worries me, because we have so many properties, and I just wonder if we wanted or needed to liquidate for some reason, would we be able to? So anyway, as I'm checking the markets on a regular basis, I would say overall it seems real estate market is really starting to come down in Finland. I've seen news articles that say, even in Helsinki, where you would think it would be very strong, the numbers are falling, like, 2 to 7, 8% decrease in prices. So, that has me worried. In a small city like Salo, I don't really feel, just from looking at the prices so regularly, I just don't feel like the market is very strong. We were hoping that there's supposed to be a fast train that's been talked for years that goes from Helsinki to Turku in 1 hour. That would mean that from Salo to Helsinki, it would be 45 minutes, and to Turku, 15 minutes. And we are thinking, well, if that ever does happen, that should reduce that should increase the price of properties in Salo, hopefully. At the moment, those speeds are half of what they are today. It's half hour to Turku, or 25 minutes, and an hour and a half to Helsinki. So, that would be great, because it would really make it very commutable, especially to Helsinki. Right now, Turku is very commutable, but to be able to commute to Helsinki, I think, would be a big plus. So, that gives me a little bit of comfort, but, who knows if and when that's going to happen. The other thing that I see in real estate is the issue with smaller towns, or let's say rural villages, where the property values fall, and the condominiums end up going into bankruptcy. So what I've seen happen there is that, let's say the building has to take out a mortgage to do work, let's say the pipes, the roof, windows, whatever. So they take out a loan to do the work, and then the condominium owners or shareholders then have to repay that loan. But if they can't or won't repay the loan, then obviously the condominium can repossess the flat and sell it in order to get the money to satisfy the debt. But in some small cities, they can't find buyers for these flats. So therefore, the condominium is not able to repay these debts. They go into bankruptcy, and if you live there, you lose everything. So that's a bit disconcerting. I don't, by no means am I saying this is widespread, but that makes me worried in terms of living in a small city and then owning a studio in another small town. But I feel like this area, while we're not booming economically, I would say, we're probably treading water, maybe going down a little bit. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think more in eastern Finland and closer to the Russian border, that's probably more of an issue. But, that gives me some cause for concern. So my overall conclusions and thoughts about my adventures in Finnish real estate, I feel like we've bought too many properties. If someone said to me, you can trade everything you've got for one decent 3-bedroom property in Turku, would I make the trade? Probably. Salo is a bit small, and I'd probably like to have a little bit more activity and things going on. And I think being in a larger city, my opportunities for, there's just more opportunities in a larger city, let's put it that way. Having said that, I do enjoy living in Salo, and there's things that I like about being here that I'm still taking advantage of and appreciating. So I'm not walking around kicking myself saying this was the worst move I've ever made. When you go through life, you make decisions based on the information you have at the time, and I think I made the right decisions, the best decisions based on the information at the time. But am I worried about Finnish real estate? Yeah, I am. But is it keeping me up at night? No, it's not. If you've got any thoughts or comments about Finnish real estate, I'd love to hear what you think. Leave a comment down below. And thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.